You're listening to 15 Minutes, where we feature community leaders sharing what the rest of us should know but likely don't. Hi, Chad Franzen here, one of the hosts of Share Your Voice, where we talk with top-notch law firms and lawyers about what it takes to grow a successful law practice. This episode is brought to you by Gladiator Law Marketing, delivering tailor-made services to help you accomplish your objectives and maximize your growth potential. To have a successful marketing campaign and make sure you're getting the best ROI, your firm needs to have a better website and better content. Gladiator Law Marketing uses artificial intelligence, machine learning, and decades of experience to outperform the competition. To learn more, go to gladiatorlawmarketing.com, where you can schedule a free marketing consultation. My guest today is Rahul B. Patel, founding and managing partner of Patel Gaines, PLLC, and co-founder of the Five Fitness Group, which stands as South Texas's largest franchisee of the publicly traded F45 Training. Rahul has been honored with accolades such as Super Lawyer, Top 100 Lawyers, San Antonio Business Journal Man of the Year, 40 Under 40, and San Antonio Magazine Faces of San Antonio. Furthermore, he serves on the Global Brand Fund Committee for F45 and holds the position of chairman at the Alamo Angels Organization. In addition to his business pursuits, he is a frequently invited speaker, sharing his insights and expertise. Rahul, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Hey man, thanks for having me on and reading that bio,
Hey, fun to read. Hey, tell me, as we get started here, just kind of tell me a little bit more about Patel Gaines and what you guys specialize in.
Yeah, so we founded our firm just this past May. It was 10-year anniversary for when we started our law firm. And we're really, we pride ourselves on being a business services law firm. So anything in the business space, in the small to medium to large size business space is kind of where we really practice and serve. Business transactions, real estate, general business services, litigation type of needs. And then we're also one of the state's largest commercial property tax litigation firms. So an area that, we've always had an early focus on. It's what I did prior to founding this firm as well. And it's a great, an area where businesses are constantly who own real estate or real estate is part of their business growth. It's an area in Texas that's constantly kind of in flux, a big hot button type of issue, but it really leads us to learning more and more about our clients and really opens up the door for a lot of other business services that we clients need. And that's where we help them service.
Congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. As you look back over that time, is there a moment or two that kind of stand out to you as like, that was kind of a turning point or a particularly memorable moment for you?
Yeah, a couple of them. One, very early on when, we were kind of up against what I would call our own kind of do or die kind of, cut the cord type of moment where we said, if we can't get it going by this time, or we run out of money at this stage, maybe we need to turn back around. And I remember we had a case that we've been working and we settled it. And I remember driving kind of an hour and a half south to our client where he was located. I'm like, hey, I need this check. I need this contingency check. Like, we settled this case. And he was just like, well, what's the hurry? I'm like, well, here's the deal. Like, I need it now because our firm, is going to either live or die on this. And he's like, well, here, sure, no problem. And so that was kind of a critical moment where it was super important for us to get a win and we needed it. And sure enough, we got it. And then the second time, I think, was when we, really ventured into a space where we, or a time where we needed space and we needed, we kind of got past that Regis office. We got past our first little flyer office, but we needed a space. And that meant real commitment, right? It meant having a real lease, having a little bit of build out, having to get real furniture. And, it felt like the second time we needed to make a substantial commitment, not just in terms of money, but also commitment, right? Like we're signing this lease, this is going. And then, so that was a kind of an early turning point, 2 years into our firm that we felt like, man, now we're on the right track. But it also meant making an investment and, again, taking another risk. And so a kind of series of those types of moments where we just felt like, which way do we go? And it always meant go forward. Right. So that was good.
Yeah, I was reading an article that you were featured in, and it said that Patel Gaines was one of the fastest growing law firms in the country. Can you provide a little insight into that and as to why?
I think it just came down to, the thing that most of us do when we start something, or we start a business, or we get going, or we start at a new job, we get really excited and we start moving. And then we forget to reinvest in what got us there. And so, if you're really hungry to get your first job at a big firm and now you're like, well, where am I going? Well, that same hunger that got you the job is the same hunger that you need to show now to say what it takes to be at the next level, whether you want to make a partner, whether you want to grow your income stream. They're all possible. You just have to go back and put the same cards back on the table that it took you to get started. And so, the same kind of method is that we have really spent the first foundational years of our firm, and we continue to, is like putting back into the firm. And so, critical point, about 4 years ago, we outgrew our space and we decided, well, let's build our own building. And so here we went and figured out how to build a 20,000 square foot building that services our firm and then maybe some of our other kind of growth needs. And so, really, I think the thing that people get a little bit scared of as they start and they get going, when they first kind of get something, that they want to hold on to it versus putting it right back in. And you have to kind of have that, that startup mode constantly. And, that's kind of a big pride and joy of ours, is to really come back in January, not just like with this refresh resurgence of New Year's and new resolution. Those live and kind of fade fast, but it's, all right, what do we want to tackle this year? Like where did we struggle? Where do we do these things? And then having a focused plan to attack and solve those problems. And I call it kind of startup mode. If you're constantly looking like starting the business, like it's today, every day matters, then you continue to find yourself growing at a rate that's better than what you're putting, than what you ever expected.
In that same article, I read that you kind of talked about the importance of being fearless. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a perfect example. Just this past weekend, we went to a water amusement park, and there's these water slides that, you basically get into this little capsule and they count down 3, 2, 1, the bottom drops out. And, as an adult, you're kind of like, what if this breaks? What if this happens? You think all these things through, and your kid, like my 2 kids, just popped on this thing and bam, they're down the chute. And so I think it's that fearlessness a little bit sometimes, where you have to go, look, I made a series of calculated decisions. I've got myself educated. I've done these things. I believe that my plan is going to work. And if you're not so sure how in your own confidence or your abilities, you've vetted this out. You've asked people, you've questioned it. You've got a business plan together, and then you just got to take a chance. You've got to take a risk, and then you got to be willing to pivot. You have to be willing to say, hey, I messed up. That wasn't a good idea. Or, you know what? It seemed way easier on paper than it was in practicality. And so I think that's like the biggest challenge. I can remember when we first started, we still put together a big business plan. I went to Kinko's, had a spiral bound printed, and you know what? We didn't really need to have a business plan, right? I mean, we really didn't. Nobody was asking us, what's going to be your plan? It was, we had our own money. We were going to put it in and start a firm, but yet we knew we needed a plan. We needed to go back to what we were trying to accomplish. And have we deviated from it? Yeah. But, I think that comes down to fearlessness. I think that's a gene of, a lot of times that's a missing trait for professional services and professional folks that try to also be an entrepreneur. That's an entrepreneurial spirit that you have to carry with you. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing a medical practice, a legal practice, an accounting practice. You have to be fearless. You have to you have to take risk, and you have to have a really short memory. I think as I've gotten older, that's another thing, is like how to have a really short memory, brush the bruises off and figure out what you did wrong to get down there, and then get right back up and keep going.
How and when did you know you wanted to become an attorney?
Oh man. I think back in high school, I wrote a little self goal that thought I wanted to go to law school. And it said I wanted to be maybe a business lawyer. I went to Ohio State, fell into marketing and economics, really liked the business element of it. I really liked marketing, dabbled around a little while. And then I think it wasn't until I finally decided to apply. And then I probably took my first couple of classes that I go, man, this is for me. I can do something with this. And then, I think the cool thing about the legal field is it's pretty, it can allow you to create a path that you want versus one that has been created for you. And I think that's a beautiful part about this profession, that a lot of folks I don't think in other professions they're able to have. They're not able to take the knowledge that they learned in any particular field and then are able to transfer it somewhere else into a completely different opportunity. So, I've got folks that have got a buddy that started a company, and now it's an expungement company, and he took his legal experience, and it's become incredibly successful. We've got people that go in-house. We have people that start real estate companies based on what they do. So I think that's what's really valuable about this, is that you're learning something, but if you understand how to learn it, understand how to navigate within it, you can take that knowledge anywhere and transfer it very easily. So to me, I think early on I didn't really know. I thought I wanted to do it, but I think when I really learned that this is an incredible tool, and you get to help people if you do it the right way, and I think that's been what's been rewarding. What's kept us doing it.
You mentioned that you had a marketing degree. You got that from Ohio State. How has that kind of helped your journey, especially as an entrepreneur and an attorney?
I think it's important. I think it's been invaluable. You have to remember a big part of what you do is service folks in their biggest time of need, and in struggle, and then also sometimes in times of excitement. It's easy to help clients when they're having great things, right? Hey, I'm about to open another 4 businesses. I need this. I'm about to buy this. That's easy. But I think the marketing element of it really helps you when you find yourself with clients that are going through a challenge, because that's when you need to learn more about your customer. You need to learn more about your client. You need to learn more about the audience. I think that helps you helps me in every phase when it comes to negotiations, mediations, because it's all about understanding how to get kind of your product or your service or your idea or your desire across the table, which requires a lot of things. And so in marketing, you're taught to look at the audience. You're looking at, what's the need, where can you service it? How can you get someone to believe that this is the right product? And so I think, all those elements are super important. And then oftentimes I think lawyers are they're too comfortable with what they think and they know, and they forget that their clients are oftentimes, and for the most of the part, they know far more than them. And so I think that's been a big motive, is how do we get our clients comfortable? We've got a really comfortable environment. You rarely see me in a suit or tie. If it wasn't for this event today, I'm pretty casual, and that allows clients to come in more casually, makes them feel a little less like they're in a little chair and I'm in a big chair. We've done certain purposeful things. There's no diplomas anywhere in the offices. If you'll look, it's memorabilia, things that are important to us, family pictures, and it's things that then get people to be more comfortable. But that's, again, marketing. If you've ever been in a sales job, when you walk into someone's office, the first thing you do is kind of look around, grab a couple of items of saying, "Oh, hey, I see you're a basketball fan. Oh, my dad took me to," whatever that is, kind of breaks the conversation down. So I think the same thing goes in the legal field, as we have a history of kind of being seen as a certain way. And I think it's changing the perception, and that comes down to marketing and knowing your audience.
Yeah, it sounds a lot. Some of the things you talked about there sound a lot like personal branding. I know you're often asked to speak on that. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah, I think that's the key. I can tell you, like, when I quit my job at the firm, I had a great job. It was a great firm. It's a great firm. But it just didn't fit. It didn't fit. It, like, in something inside of me, felt like I was wearing a uniform that I didn't, it just didn't fit me, and it was hiding me and masking me. And so, I think it comes down to personal branding is you have to be yourself. And the more you are yourself, the more you're true to who you are versus your profession of just what you're trying to do, then I think the more that you attract clients and people that want to seek that information. Because at the end of the day, we're a counselor. They are coming to us and asking a question and asking for your advice to give you the right question, or right answer to that question. And so if they don't know you, or they don't trust you, or they don't know truly enough about how you're forming your opinions, then they're left with more doubt than they are answers. So I think that attracts, you if you attract people then who know you and know why you make decisions and know why you might be inclined to those things, I think that makes you that much more valuable, or maybe the wrong fit for somebody who just wants, you to make every decision for them. A lot of times, when it comes to lawyers, we're not really making decisions for them. We're trying to give them path A and path B, and letting the client go, which path do I need to go down? But rather than just saying, well, what do? You got to go, well, how do you drive them to a decision that you believe is best for them? And the deeper you know them, the deeper that they're willing to share with you, the better advice you can give them to go, well, I believe if we head down path B, here's the three things that you've said to me you want to accomplish, I think are more likely to be as an outcome. These are your pitfalls. These are your pros. These are the roadblocks. Now they're making more decisions, but you're making decisions based on truly what they want. And I think that's the thing. A lot of times clients come to you and they're like, you know what, I want to sue this person. It's like, well, okay, well, why? And they're like, well, they built into my my area, and they've encroached my lot by XYZ. Well, if you start going down that path, say, okay, well, let's look at the paperwork and sue. Instead, it's like, well, what have you done? Have you talked to them? Have you had conversations? Like, how did this happen? Like, did they have conversations with you? And so now you get to the crux of, well, use never should have been allowed. Well, now you're getting to emotional things. So I think, to me, the more you get folks to become comfortable with you and your brand of who you are, then you attract customers that really want that type of advice. And then you build your own value even better that way, because you're not trying to be a chameleon to what they want. You are their counselor. And I think if you want to attract high profile clients, successful businesses, you've got to be seen as a thought leader. And that sometimes means being comfortable telling them that they're incorrect, telling them that this is not what you want to do. And I think that's where we've made our biggest mark sometimes, is being able to be honest by serving who we are, what we won't do for them and what we will do for them.
Let's get into a few other things that I talked about in your intro before we wrap things up here. Tell me about F45 and what that is and kind of how it stands out in the fitness industry.
We've represented a lot of franchisees on the franchisee side. And, sure enough, an opportunity came around. We built a real estate. Fitness was a super important kind of element of mine. I've gained a lot of weight, gone down this unhealthy journey, and an opportunity came around. And we're business lawyers, so the more we're involved in certain business activities, the realer we can be with our clients too. Say, I get this. I've been in this situation. I've signed a lease that the terms don't look all that great, but I couldn't edit them out. And in fact, that's a business risk I've got to be willing to take. I'm not going to lose that opportunity simply because I can't get drafted what I've got to get drafted, because that's just the reality of it. So got involved in that, and weathered the storms through COVID, and have really created a good opportunity. And the company has since gone public. They've had some some changes and some opportunities, but it's a company that I think is going to has a great opportunity ahead of them. And I'm excited. And so as a franchisee, we've been in the boat. We've signed leases. We've borrowed money. We've created construction. We've had issues. So we've signed franchise agreements. So it puts us in the boat with a lot of our clients to truly understand what they go through. And I think that only builds us more respect with a lot of our folks to know, hey, I get it. Like, this is what it is, but here's what we probably need to do in this in order to get the goals across the finish line.
I also mentioned that you are the chairman of the Alamo Angels. Tell me what they do and why it's been important to you to be involved with that.
That's awesome. And it touches back on kind of what we talked about earlier. So it's great. I've had the honor to kind of grow this into one of the actually the largest angel investment organization in the state of Texas. And what we do is, we as a group, think Shark Tank, except we're not sharks against each other. We are all on one team. And so we have created a strong collaboration of some of the strongest entrepreneurs and successful people across our market come together to create this organization. And what we do is we see companies every month. They pitch. It's a very process-driven group. We get 30 to 40 companies that present their company, their pitch, their idea, their information. We pick the top 3. We bring them in, and they get 10 minutes to present, 3 minutes of Q&A, and then we determine which ones to have follow-up conversations on, and then we individually write checks, and we help them grow and we help them scale. So there's folks that have taken board positions, advisory positions. There's sometimes that we're just there as a resource or a connection. But we invest in companies that are in very early startup, pre-revenue or early revenue companies. So typically like under 5 to 10 million in revenue. that are companies that we're hoping to see a growth, we'll invest in those. And so we've got companies that are now like Chicky, for example, is in HEB, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. You can buy that drink everywhere. We've been an early investor in that. So that's what we do with the mission and mindset of doing exactly what we do, is bring our value skill sets to a possible company, and we leverage our connections, our capital, and the people that we have to help that company grow.
Okay. Hey, Rahul, it's been great to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time. Before I let you go, tell me how people can find out more about Patel Gains, F45, anything else that you have going on.
I'm available on LinkedIn, all the social media platforms, but www.patel, Patel, gains, gaines.com. That's our website. My personal website is rahulbpatel.com. So it's RAHULB, Patel, Patel.com. And, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn and on Instagram and also on some of those social channels, but you can always visit our website.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks so much, Rahul. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening to 15 Minutes. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.